Welcome to the first episode of the CrapCast, where we discuss culture, religion, and politics in a totally 100% serious way. I am your host, Alex Concepcion, and joining me this episode is my brother Johnny, and our only listener, Corporal Angelo Pagano. Hope you enjoy, like this video, and share this video with your friends, or friend, or no one, you lonely loser.
So, women,
the female race.
how, okay, so this is one of those interesting things where it's like, what exactly are the primary differences that aren't biological between men and women?
How do you mean?
So there's an obvious difference between men and women in the sense that, one sex is used for birthing people and facilitating the, process of infant, upgrowth.
Oh, yeah.
And men obviously do not have the biological apparatus for such a purpose. So
We don't have a vagina.
So, in terms of, societal roles, do you think there are gender norms that are biological, or do you think they're just arbitrary, put on by men?
The year is 1915, and women are useless, except for reproduction.
They cannot vote. They cannot...
Drive.
Well, I mean, cars weren't really...
But they couldn't ride horses.
They couldn't serve in war except as battlefield medics and cannon fodder.
And whores.
And trolls.
Succubus.
Succubi.
Succubuses.
Hey.
Harlots.
Yes.
Women of the night.
But they are good at one thing.
Streetwalkers.
Kitchen work.
Yes.
Well, that clap was very echoey. But no, do you think, in both of your opinions, and if you disagree, that would be really cool, because I think arguments are just easy, just fodder. So, what do you think are, the, if there are any societal and gender normative differences between men and women, and are they arbitrary, in the sense that, men collectively are just
The arbiter.
women do this on a, let's say, a subconscious level, or do you think it's actually?
Well, I think
set in
joking
place?
around, misogyny's fine, because you got to be able to make fun of everything. But on a serious note, men have a role and women have a role. One is not greater or better than the other, because if you're looking for a whole family unit, you need both in order to have a successful one.
They both perfectly complement each other.
Yes.
But, alright, going back to women,
Yeah, going back to women,
the roles were defined back in the day.
Yeah, so, and that's all in the context of the family unit. So,
In the kitchen.
what then,
I said in the kitchen!
how does that translate when, the family unit is just being bombarded nowadays? There aren't many, in terms of, I suppose, by comparison, how things were 100 years ago. There aren't a lot of family groups that function in the ways that they did then now. The rate of single motherhood is just very high. The advent of just the 1960s for sex, drugs, rock and roll sort of thing, that created a lot of broken families, because there were dads who would just knock out some girl, and they'd have a kid, and it's oh, you mean to say when we do the sex there's a kid after? What? Surprise, there's consequences to those things.
Game week.
Because the way I look at
Primal birth control
is that since, like you said, the family unit is all but fractured,
yeah,
the same opportunities should be easy to access for everybody, but not in the sense that because you're a woman you automatically get this position, or because you're a person of color or whatever it is, you're automatically afforded that opportunity. No, you have to have the mental and the physical capability to perform whatever task it is you're looking for. It doesn't matter what you have between your legs or what skin color you got. We all bleed the same. So if you've got a brain and you've got a heart, it doesn't matter where you came from. Ideally, in America, this is the land of opportunity where you work your ass off and you get, you get what you put out. The harder you work, the more benefits you'll be able to reap. In a perfect world, in a perfect America, ideally. Because like everybody's like, oh, the man's trying to keep you down, and oh, men are getting paid more than women. And on that slight side topic, Bill Burr did he had an amazing answer for why men get paid more than women. He says it's $1 an hour surcharge because in the unlikely event of a Titanic type scenario, for some messed up reason, the women and the children get to leave and all the men have to stay behind. So it's like $1 an hour surcharge in case shit pops off. Because think about it, even in a hostage negotiation, they say, at least let the women and children go. It's like, what about me? Well, because I'm a guy, I have to stay? Like,
well, I mean, in the event of, say, like some, I don't know, some sales job, like at AT&T, I don't think they're, like, I mean, nowadays, the issue of equal pay, if I remember correctly, like everybody gets paid the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you work hard enough, it doesn't matter what gender you are. You should, like if there's a woman and she's working her ass off more than a man is, she should be getting paid more than that dude.
Meritocracy.
And vice versa. If the dude is working his ass off and the woman's just a lazy slob, he should be getting paid more than she is.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about the work ethic.
Yeah.
Because you get couch potatoes that just want to sit on their ass and complain and point the finger and be a victim about everything.
Now, what do you think enables that victim mentality?
The government. The government. I'll be honest. Social media, entertainment, and the government.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of lean in the direction nowadays of social media.
Because the problem is people become entitled.
Yeah. And entitlement is just
we're born
another S.
in America. We're born into entitlement. So.
Yeah. How did Rocky put it? In life, nobody owes you nothing.
Yeah. Family. Wait, wrong movie.
You gotta get hit, and you gotta hit back. Because at the end of the day, that's how it is done.
Oh.
Adrian.
I mean,
Rocco.
Yeah.
So
bully.
So like women can perform most of the jobs that men can perform, and they can do it well. In fact, certain, like when it comes into the fields of like research and development and stuff like that, and scientific research, women actually excel because they're very smart, very smart, intelligent beings. And
wait a minute, you just said intelligent in regards to women.
Misogyny. Anyways,
waka back in the kitchen.
But there are a lot of physical jobs, physically demanding jobs that women can do, but they can't do as well as a man can, and they can't do it for as long as a man can. So, like, males in construction work, females' bodies are just not built to bear that weight every day for years and years.
Well, here's two examples. I mean, one is the biological aspect of men having 40% more body mass than women, just across the board. That's the norm. And the second is I believe it was an Olympic soccer team that got beat by it was a female Olympic soccer team who got beat by like just some high school of men. So there are just biological differences that have to be taken into account.
Yeah, that doesn't make them better than the other.
Oh, of course not. It may make them superior in terms of sportsmanship and being able to perform the sport better, but we obviously don't gauge human life on a chart of who can play soccer the best. I mean,
yeah, and like to tie it into the whole
otherwise,
LGBT thing
I would suck.
We had on there. You take a trans woman, meaning that he was born a man, he's transitioning into a woman, and he before he became a she, was like a pro MMA fighter, and then he turns into a she, and she wants to compete in the women's MMA division. He is going to freaking annihilate everybody in that whole division. And that's not fair to any of the other women competing because they're real women, not a fake woman.
Yeah, that the topic of transgenderism, I think, is a very... I don't think you guys will agree with me on this one, or you may, but I think it's more of a spiritual issue and more of a... I mean, I'm sure you guys will agree.
I would say mental.
Yeah, I was gonna say to bring it more into the field of like common conversation, mental issue. because it's
They have a problem.
Yeah, it's an emotional.
They're not bad people.
Yeah, it's an emotional sort of
disturbance.
To say yes, disturbance.
I mean, back in the day, they were considered mentally ill.
Yeah, it was called gender dysphoria, and it was like treated as a mental illness.
And up until recently, that hadn't changed until
and
people started getting their feelings hurt.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that the only reason it got changed from a mental disorder to it becoming more socially acceptable is because we didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so we could freaking solve it.
And to further political agendas that may or not be responsible for tearing down our country. But, because I've had conversations with people who are transgender about why they're transgender, and they basically, if I remember properly, because I don't want to mischaracterize.
No.
But
God forbid you do that. They'll try and cancel you.
Yeah, no. Send the Twitter police after me.
TP.
Good thing I don't have Twitter. They'll still come for me though. Anyways, I remember talking to this one person online, and it was a male transitioning to female, and he was saying, notice I said he, was saying that it was mainly something like proper self-expression. Like he didn't believe that the body that was assigned to him, if that makes any sense, was proper. Like it didn't fit him emotionally.
So you're telling me God messed up?
In essence, yes. That's the.
They keep trying to say that God messed up.
Like even from an atheistic point of view, you could say there was a cosmic roll of the die that was, just not in their favor. But speaking from a sort of religious point of view, because we're good Christian boys. From a religious point of view, they were making the assertion that there was a mistake made. And rather than chalking it up to societal pressure from social media, from the advent of, just families being fractured like we were just talking about, and rather than, thinking critically about, okay, well, where did I get these ideas from that, I'm not actually a male in terms of my internal construction, they act emotionally, and they...
Just like a woman. See, it's all coming together.
And because they sort of believe in their truth and not the truth, they've adopted a moral relativism that's just...
You hit the nail on the head.
It's something like it's something like the biblical the biblical adage of each person following the evil dictates of their heart. And evil in that context isn't like, oh, they're bad. It's deception. Mm-hmm. It's the voice inside of you which lies. Mm-hmm. And there's a part of us that
they're believing their own bullshit.
Yeah, basically, they're believing their own bullshit. And in those particular cases in which one is subject to that, it's important to think critically and to view things in the reality that they happened. I remember there was this one case of a transgender person who, years after his surgery, regretted it, and he became a Christian, and he shared his story about how there was sexual abuse involved, which is unfortunately all too common, mm-hmm. and how that can sort of mm-hmm. mess with somebody in terms of like the sexual aspects of their brain. The way, I mean, this may be a bit of a stretch, but like mm-hmm. the way our physiology is made up, I mean, it's the XX and XY chromosomes that distinguish whether somebody's male or female. Yes. And because of the way our cells work, from what I remember, there's an integral part... What?
You were saying?
There's an integral part of us that I think still lies in the feminine as men, and even in women, there's an integral part of them that still lies in the masculine as women. That's something of like a survival mechanism. That way, we're not just entirely male and entirely female in terms of our internal makeup, but that can be easily made askew by something like sexual trauma.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no neuroscientist, right? But like chemical imbalance in your body, like, estrogen, testosterone imbalances, often cause your brain structure to change into thinking in a different way. So like you see that you're becoming, or you're acting more as a woman, and you tend to believe that you are a woman at times, or a woman tends to believe that she's a man.
Yeah.